Hi guys, I hope you're having an amazing day today. Let's get some oracle cards, see what spirit wants you to know at this time. Okay, so the first one that we have is you have the power to make yourself better. So this is the energy of work that you have been putting in behind the scenes to choose better for yourself, or even come to terms with circumstances that are kind of outside of the realm of your control. Spirit has taken notice of this. People in your material world have taken notice of this, and you are being celebrated for your bravery to grow outside of your comfort zone. The easiest decision would have been to stay stuck, would have been to take on a victim mindset, would have been to let past defeats or even large or lofty goals that you've been reaching towards, to let those things kind of weigh you down. Something where it may be that you're facing a lot of challenges, you're facing a lot of obstacles, or you have in the past. You've had a lot of breakthroughs and it feels like you haven't celebrated or acknowledged yourself enough for those things because you've been caught up in the momentum of trying to trust in the process, trying to keep your eye on the prize, trying to sort of make the most of your circumstances, or even sort of hold tight while you're waiting for more opportune experiences to come in. And there's a sense of almost like that determination, that trust, that process of surrender, and also pushing forward towards other things. This has been recognized and it's getting ready to be celebrated. Your vision of where you are in terms of your spiritual journey, your journey in life, or even kind of trying to align with different sorts of circumstances, align with a higher quality of love, align with a higher quality of job, a higher quality version of yourself. There's a sense that you've been putting in a lot of effort, even if it's just been holding little kind of seeds of trust, little grains of trust inside of you, when everything around you seemed to be kind of providing conflicting information, that maybe your manifestation wasn't going to show up, maybe you were moving in the wrong direction, reaching for the wrong thing. All of that is about to be reciprocated to you in a sense of something that's going to bring in a lot of celebration. Your tree is about to bear some fruit. Your efforts are about to be celebrated. You are about to look around and recognize, hey, I'm further ahead than I gave myself credit for. Or all of a sudden, what was weighing me down inside, I've either created a level of strength inside of me where it's easier to kind of hold on to that in a way that is not so arduous, that is not so heavy, that is not so discouraging. Or this is the sense of something that comes in the form of breakthrough, an opportunity, a new experience for you. You're able to offload a lot of that weight. You're not going to feel compelled to sort of hold it or let it hold you down or hold you back for very much longer. So you've created some excellent progress for yourself, and it feels like that's going to be very apparent in the material world very soon. We also have speak your truth with passion. Yeah, so you have been very demanding and very choosy, it feels like, when it comes to the universe. There may have been things that were presented to you that could have been very tempting in terms of like settling for less than you deserve, or something that might have been reflective of an old pattern. And you said, nope, this is not what I asked for. This is not what I want. I know my worth, I know my value, I know I am worthy of something so much more than the poor experiences that I've had in my past, either that I've put myself in certain circumstances where things turned out really bad, or I allowed people into my life and into my reality and they created wreckage where there had once been peace. You've leveled up in some sort of way. You've broken through a cycle of kind of settling for less than you deserve or limiting yourself, which has kept you on the outskirts of a life which feels fulfilling and peaceful, that you're getting ready to have those real world experiences of. You kept pushing, you kept being very determined. You maybe even chose a path of solitude over being surrounded by very poor company. And that is about to be very richly rewarded for you in terms of everything that you've had to cut off, everything that you've refused, everything that you've allowed to pass you by, or you've pushed away because you knew that there could be something more, that it wasn't resonating with, the way that like love and contentment and your version of happily ever after, maybe as it relates to love, but it feels like multiple areas of your life in general, all of that is about to be rewarded. The universe has heard you loud and clear in terms of like, I demand better, I want better for myself. And if I'm not seeing that outside of me, or people aren't able to bring that into my life, I'll do that for myself. I'll celebrate myself. I'll treat myself. I'll take myself out on dates. I won't wait around for someone to rescue me or to solve all my problems. I'll become that problem solver. And so your efforts in that sense, the energy that you've been putting out, the intentions that were set that have corresponded with things that you've done, this is about to be reciprocated in the form of things that, and people and experiences you're not going to want to push away. You're not going to get that kind of red flag inclination of like, hey, this smells an awful lot like a previous cycle. I think not. I think I'll kind of leave that to someone else to go through. I'll let that person go back to people in their league, or, I value and cherish myself enough. I've come too far to kind of back down now from what I know that I'm deserving of, from what I know that I want, from what I know that I can have in this life and in this reality. No matter what the past has looked like, you've chosen your future, you've invested in your future, and Spirit is saying you made the right decision in that capacity. And so this is that kind of word of encouragement to keep reaching for those dreams. Maybe some of you are kind of, you're exhausted at this particular point in time. You've done a lot of heavy lifting. You've cleared a lot of things out of your life. You've chosen better for yourself. And so, if your inclination is to kind of just sit and rest and allow things to come to you, definitely follow that instinct within. It feels like you're very tuned in to kind of a higher timeline and sort of what is required for you in order to keep pushing towards that, in order to keep aligning with that. And so for some of you, this is kind of, submerging yourself in that full receptivity mode. For others of you, this is going to be like you've been in a holding pattern, and you're going to get that instinct, something that is calling you forth to kind of rush forth towards it. An offer, an invitation that comes in, that can be something professional, something social, something romantic. And, an instinct inside of you says, yeah, this feels like something I might want to take a chance on. And so it feels like when you're honoring that, whatever direction that kind of instinct within is going to encourage you next, you're going to be very happy that you did. It's going to be something that works out very beautifully for you, and again kind of shows you sort of the fruits of your efforts up to this point. Your discernment is on point. You've chosen better for yourself, and you've demanded better for yourself, and so it feels like that's getting ready to come in a very remarkable way. We also have always in motion. Yeah, so you have blossomed into a magnificent version of yourself. There's a sense that like your past self wouldn't recognize this version of you and would be very much in awe of this version of you. There may even be past people who could be coming back on the scene, who catch sight of you, who hear about you, who are kind of like, I wonder what they're up to. I wonder whatever happened to that person. And they seek and they find out. And it's something that they are stunned. They are silenced. They are in awe because you are simply radiant. People that might have counted you out in the past, it feels like they're about to be dumbfounded. They're going to have to eat their words because it's very obvious that you have made certain decisions, you've reached for something, you've cut certain things out of your life, and you've come into full bloom. You're radiant, you're glowing, you're vibrant. And so it feels like a lot of silent supporters kind of celebrating you, or people who are going to be kind of humbled for judging you based on previous circumstances or underestimating you in some way. It's like that idea of when we hear like, underestimate me, that'll be fun. Well, you're about to be in the position of you're going to have the last laugh in this situation. People that might have kind of mocked you or, judged you based on your circumstances. Again, this is like you're unrecognizable from the person that they knew before. It's like night and day, and you definitely have the upper hand now over any challenges that had, kept you small or had broken you in the past. You've broken through. You've transcended every expectation that the doubters and the naysayers had placed upon you. Maybe rightly so, based on your circumstances. Some of you may have gone through some really tough situations, some rock bottom experiences where, the logical assumption would have been like, yeah, it's best to count this person out. So this kind of speaks to something of the miraculous that you have accomplished, that you have achieved, that you have become in yourself, and beyond kind of people from the past who may be sort of skulking back in for a closer look, or who are bold enough, and kind of good enough within themselves, maybe to give you your flowers, give you your credit, give you those compliments or those well wishes because you've achieved the impossible, or you've really, you've created something better out of yourself and for yourself, and so you're worthy of that being acknowledged in some sort of way. It feels like new people, new opportunities, new circumstances coming on the scene that have no ability to judge you based on the past. This is something that you're being taken in now at face value, and there's a lot of applause as far as that's concerned. It feels like without even sort of knowing your journey, knowing what you've been through, it's written all over you. It's in your energy. It's in the way that you carry yourself, that this is something that you have forged, this version of you. You've gone through the fires of transformation. You've gone through some sort of struggle, some sort of journey. And so it feels like your energy, your name, your presence, it brings a lot of respect, without needing to kind of, brag about your accolades and the things that you've accomplished. It's the vibe that you give off, that speaks to something that is very noble, that is very regal, that is very next level. And there's a lot of people that are going to want to scoot in close and kind of observe, interact with you, honor you for your process, for who you are, for the light that you cultivated within, or that you've managed to keep despite everything that you've been through that tried to erase that, or could have taken or dampened that or diminished it in any sort of way. It's like you've triumphed. You are that inspiration, and so it feels like, if you felt kind of set aside, you felt kind of lonely, you've been in your own kind of personal process of transformation. This is a sense of being welcomed into new communities, being kind of celebrated for who you are, the universe kind of applauding you for your decision to choose more, to do that heavy lifting, to not pick the easy route, which would have just been to kind of repeat the same cycles over and over again. But you've wanted something more. You've been striving for something more. You've manifested that through setting your intentions, aligning energetically with the feeling of that better tomorrow, that best life, and the work that you've put in, maybe that shadow work, inner child healing. Maybe you've gone to therapy, you've gotten self-help, you've picked healthier habits, attitudes, mindsets, behaviors for yourself. You've cut out toxicity. You've welcomed in abundance. You've created that abundance mindset within yourself. And it feels like this is about to have a very beautiful ripple effect in terms of the prosperity that comes in for you on all levels. So definitely kind of open yourself to receive. Know that you deserve this time of celebration. You're an inspiration to a lot of people, whether you see that or not. And it feels like Spirit is very intent on making you sort of see that during this next season or this next kind of phase of your journey. It's something that is meant to reinforce the ways in which you've dissolved your own toxicity. You've built your ego back up in a healthy way. And so now this is kind of that outward reverberation of that beautiful frequency that you've been tuning inside of yourself. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. If you'd like a personal reading, there's a link for that below. I hope to see you again in another video. Please take care and be well.